It's a very sad day in the United States. I'm so absolutely riddled with anguish about what happened to Charlie Kirk getting assassinated while he's talking about transgender violence and mass shootings by transgender. Now we got to get this straight. This is a real fact of the matter, is that transgender people in the US are 700% more likely to participate in a mass shooting than a white guy like myself, just a normal heterosexual white guy. I'll show you the, oh, here's my baby. Hey baby, hi Daisy. Anyway, I'll show you the statistics on this, and it is something that I've experienced myself. I was attacked by a transgender, or I don't know what they call them, a cross-dresser, a transvestite, I don't know. My ex-wife married one, and he attacked me. I had to handle him. I put him down in the dirt, held him there with my teeth while my ex-wife was kicking me. And anyway, he hit me first. I'm bleeding all down my neck, so I grabbed him by the neck. I put him in the dirt. I hold him there. My ex-wife is kicking me. I'm holding her leg. I'm holding him with my teeth onto the ground. And I get up and leave, because my kids all pour out of the house and see this. So I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here. So I left. And then they called the police on me. Well, fortunately, I had this all recorded. I always record when I'm around my ex-wife, because she'll make up facts that aren't true and make the kids believe they're true. And so I always have a dash cam in my car, and when I'm around her, I'm always doing audio recording. Well, in this instance, I was recording the audio, and from the time I got out of the car all the way through the whole fight, and then all the way down to where I met up with the police. So they said they wanted me arrested for attacking this guy. And the fact of the matter is, he was sitting in his house. I was trying to talk to my daughter. My daughter wants me to use these pronouns. I don't use these stupid fucking pronouns. I don't believe people can change their gender. You're either male, you're female, and it depends on how you're born, not how you feel. Anyway, I won't use these stupid fucking pronouns. I just won't do it. And so he's like, get the fuck out of my house. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you, and I'm out of here. So I start walking away, and you can hear the swish, swish, swish as I'm walking away. The guy gets out of his house. He's in the living room. He gets out of his chair from where he's always gaming. He doesn't do anything else but game. He doesn't work. And so he follows me out of the house and starts screaming at me, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And so he proceeds quickly behind me. You can hear his footsteps in the audio recording. I'm at a steady pace. He's going faster than me. He catches up to me. I turn around. He hits me in the face, and then I have to handle the guy, like I said I did. And I played that recording for the police, and they didn't arrest me. Why? Well, I didn't do anything wrong. Now, if it was how they claimed it happened, if it happened like they said, like I came to their house and I lunged at him and I grabbed him and I attacked him first, I assaulted him basically. If that's how it actually happened, then the police would have arrested me for assault, because I was at their house, and, it was their premises, and I, allegedly attacked them, or attacked him. Well, when the police heard the audio recording, they didn't arrest me, and I faced no charges, and they asked me if I wanted to press charges against him, and I said no, it's, my kid's stepdad and whatever. So I walked away. He didn't get arrested, I didn't get arrested, but if it would have happened the way they said it happened, I would have been arrested, because that would have been clearly assault. Anyway, it's a major issue in this country, in the United States, that is, with transgender violence, and Matt Walsh talks about it. I'll play a little clip from him, and I'll show you these statistics, and it's 100% verifiable here that the small amount of the population, less than 1% of the population, is transgender. And for the amount of people, like I just wrote a blog about a week and a half ago about that Robin Westwood, or whatever his name was, the transgender that had the church shooting in Minneapolis, shot up a bunch of people in church, a bunch of kids and stuff. The transgender violence is increasing and increasing and increasing, and it's obvious why. These people are mentally ill. These people are the kind of people who are taking crazy drugs and hormones to change who they are. They're cutting off their dicks, cutting off their breasts, whatever. I mean, they're clearly mentally ill. This is a delusion. This is a mental illness, and it doesn't need affirmation. It needs, serious psychological attention. It needs something beyond affirmation. If my, friend told me that he was a dolphin, or something, I wouldn't play along with it. I mean, if they said that, they have an imaginary friend at the table, I wouldn't go along with it. I mean, things that are true, and things that are not true. I mean, there's absolute truth in this world, and then there's, delusion, and transgenderism is absolutely a delusion. My kids are all being influenced by this, by their stepfather. It's a big mess. My wife, ever since I met her, has always complained about how she's oppressed because of her gender, being female. My ex-wife, that is, has always said, I'd be a lot further in life if only I had a penis or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Always making it out to be like she hasn't gotten as far in life as she wanted to be because of her gender and stuff like that. And, I've always been made to do the domestic duties and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, well, I make 300% more money than you, and you're a lot better nurturer, and you're a lot better cook, and, you're good at that part of, taking care of things at the house. Every time I bought a new car, I bought her a new car. Every time, I got something nice, she got something nice. It's not as if though, the money wasn't shared equally. It's just that we all have our roles, and she didn't like that, apparently. So I don't know why she signed up for it. I mean, we met at a Christian environment. Her brother had just taken her to church. She had just given her life to Jesus. I have been a Christian for a couple of years before that, 4 or 5 years before that. We had these terms already established when we met up, and it's not like I converted her. It's not like I forced her to be Christian or a traditional person. I mean, she volunteered for all that. And then later, I guess she didn't like it. But when we first met, I mean, she had a scholarship to Westminster Business College in Salt Lake City, one of the best business colleges in the U.S. And I quit my job at Microsoft because it didn't pay me as well as doing construction. And I went and did construction in Louisiana while she was supposed to be in school. And I told her I'd pay for everything: the apartment, the food, the house, the clothing, the books, whatever else that didn't get covered by the scholarship. I would pay for it, and I needed to work, long hours to be able to do that. So I volunteered to quit my job at Microsoft and work for Action Target, doing steel building construction, where I made significantly more money. And while I'm out working, she quits school and goes back to her parents' house. Says, the Mormons were, they were just too hard on me or whatever. I didn't fit in or whatever. It was a big, school full of rich people, and they were all Mormons, and, they were judgy, and I didn't feel like I was comfortable there, so I quit. It's like, are you serious? She didn't even talk to me before she did it. So I was supportive of her going to school. I got her first good job, paying $30 an hour through my company. We got a contract through my company, through ACR LLC. We got paid, as contractors, and my business took the contract, and then she worked it. But she was a media director for that company for 2 years, and I hired a nanny, and the nanny took care of our 3-year-old, and everything was good. I mean, I never held her back. She decided she wanted to homeschool the children. She decided to stay home, and I didn't force that in any way, shape, or form. She was making good money. She could have kept working if she would have just showed up for work, but she never, it was another thing where she just didn't feel like, participating as much, and so she opted out. It wasn't my fault. I've always been supportive of her. But, this whole thing about, gender this and gender that has always been a part of my life with her, and that's why I couldn't continue. That's why I filed for divorce multiple times. I finally went through with it. But that's one of the big reasons why I filed for divorce, is because there was no accountability. It wasn't like, I made certain choices, therefore I have certain consequences. No, it was gender this, gender that, gender this. Now my kids are all confused with this shit. The United States is confused with this shit, and people are dying because of this shit. And I'm just tired of it. Something needs to happen. I hope, as Trump has recently announced, that they do start taking guns away from these transgender people, because clearly, as he has said long before this transgender issue, back in his first presidency, back in his first term, mentally ill people should be denied, guns. And these people clearly, who are cutting off their dicks and taking crazy hormones and changing their bodies, because they don't feel like they were born in the correct body, are obviously mentally ill. And I think it should be examined. Maybe they should have their gun rights denied if they want to cut off their dicks and, whatever else, take crazy hormones and all that. I mean, maybe that's a reason to consider them mentally ill. It used to be called gender dysphoria, a mental illness that they used to treat with therapy and, other psychological techniques, but maybe that's the case here.
Welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Alex Stein. I'm considered one of the sexiest men in conservative politics. And one thing I want to say, a lot of people are going to hear my testimony and you're going to say you're anti-LGBTQ. I want to say that's impossible because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So obviously I have a lot of gay pride. But, you know, a lot of conservatives like yourself, you want to outlaw transgenders in women's sports. I disagree. I like transgenders in women's sports because you can gamble on them and win money. And I won so much money on Leah Thomas's propeller in that pool. I almost turned draft kings, into draft queens. And, you know, I actually like transgenders in the military, too, because, first of all, transgenders are some of the meanest people on planet Earth, so they'd make a good soldier, don't you think? And then, you know, second of all, transgenders love to do mass shootings. So, you know, that's perfect for a military veteran. And then on top of that, the suicide rate is incredibly high among transgender people, so we could just use them like the Taliban has suicide bombers. Maybe you guys can actually, you know, if you commit suicide, actually help us in the battlefield. So that would be good. So I think we need transgenders in the military and women's sports. Now, when we come to the bathroom bill, though, this is an asymmetrical problem because, first of all, no dude cares if, like, a bisexual woman comes in there and tries to use, like, a pee funnel. You know, if some lady boy comes in there, some, you know, stud comes in there, wants to pee in the urinal. No guy's going to be threatened by, you know, a trans woman. But we don't want these gargoyles in a dress, you know, some chick with a dick coming in there and trying to pee or poop next to my girlfriend, because that's disgusting. And, well, I was going to say something. Listen, I have my First Amendment right. Let me just say. So, we're sick of these transgenders trying to invade women's personal spaces. These people have autogynephilia, they're sexual perverts, and they actually get satisfaction from going there and looking under a stall. So these are mentally ill people that are on hormones, that are on all kinds of pills, they're impulsive, and they do not belong in a women's restroom. So if some of you lesbians want to come in and pee next to me, you're more than welcome. So we just don't let the chicks with dicks in the women's room, and you guys are all welcome in the men's room. I think that works.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate that.